ladies and gentlemen. He's a native from El Paso, Texas.
Hey, you remembered.
Yes, but he resides in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
Owner of the Idle Hands.
It's
Bar?
It's the Idle Hands now because the Houston one closed.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Just the one in Austin, yeah.
Okay. Author of multiple books.
Yes.
Ready, Set, Fail. Guide to Digital Learning. How many guides to digital learning do you have?
I have the 6. It's a mobile learning mindset guide to digital learning, and they came out before the pandemic.
Yes. My favorite is the third one, The Prisoner of Azkaban. That's my personal favorite.
There's a little plot twist at the end there with the iPad and all that. Yeah, I don't want to get into that.
It was a rat.
Amalgamous, or what was it?
I don't know how else to tell you, how else to introduce you, man. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Always my friend. Always good to see you, a fellow Texan. Staring at a giant box of Dunkin' Donuts here, which is, of course, I'm just excited about as well to get into. Because, of course, at Tech Bites, as he says as I walk up, I was like, oh, you have donuts? He's like, yes, at Tech Bites. We got to break bread.
You break bread, man.
Always.
All right, so have at it, brother.
Oh, not during the podcast? All right, I'm going to pick mine out.
I've got 5 episodes lined up today, and there's no way I can eat 5 donuts.
Okay, so you're sticking with, I'm going to go with what my daughter would pick, which is this very lovely, yes.
You got the Homer Simpson?
Yeah, the Homer.
Okay, all right.
All right, there we go.
I did say a bad word just a little while ago. I used a naughty word, which is donut. I don't like to use that word because it has a negative connotation. We call these power rings.
Power rings. I like that.
Yes. My wife will ask me, hey, I noticed you didn't have breakfast. Yeah, I picked up a smoothie and I rubbed a power ring on the way to work.
I like that. Because you get the power rings on your watch, where like your Apple Watch gives you the power rings for working out.
And if you eat enough power rings, your watch will tell you. Would you like for me to call an ambulance?
Right.
Is everything good?
Have you seen like the bacon? Like they had the bacon on top of it.
Bacon maple.
Yeah, I know you're doing a walking tour. I know not to give that away, but yeah, I know one of the spots is a donut spot next. In Austin, right?
That's in Austin. I've got two walking tours here, and we're doing like a Colombian cafe and bakery. We're hitting up Voodoo Donuts in Austin for TCA. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested,
you still got some spots, right?
I still got spots for both Sunday the 4th of February and Monday the 5th of February, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time. So we've got some spots, and I know that you mentioned maybe some after hours at Idle Hands.
Idle Hands. Go check out Idle Hands at 7 after the walking tour, and I believe Curapod and a few others will be hosting just a fun little get-together, gathering, breaking bread, so to speak, and a cocktail or two.
All right.
Okay.
AI. How we've come in a year. I had Matt Miller on the show, FETC 2023 over in New Orleans. And he was just about finished with his book, if not wrapping it up very close. And it was the talk.
Yeah.
It was the talk to the point where he submitted his session late because of how late in 2022 that AI came about.
Yeah.
Technically, ChatGPT.
True.
And it is absolutely blown up.
I mean, every session I walk through these halls at FETC, I'm looking at a few, like those big stand-up boards that have the sessions listed on it. And just from my perspective here, I see the word AI 6 times out of 10 sessions. So,
there we go.
I mean, quick math, 60% of the sessions are about AI.
That's
I'm just going to say
half.
that right now.
That's almost half.
That's almost half. Yeah. It's almost half. More than half, maybe. But yeah, it's crazy. And it was funny because, a lot of these conferences, you have to put in your proposal so far in advance.
It's like 7-8 months.
Yeah, 7-8 months. TCA is like May, and it's for next February. So how do you adjust for that kind of innovation? And, you end up making these sessions that are a little more, you just sneak it in.
Yeah.
Which is what every vendor did also, by the way. You notice a lot of vendors all of a sudden, you start to see, and I'm kind of giving a hint as to my good, bad, and ugly here in a minute, but you start to see a little bit of, we have AI, and a lot of them have had AI of some sort, but now it's like a feature ad, like they move it up the chain. So it's like the keto diet, these power rings that we're eating.
Yes, which are completely keto.
They're keto friendly.
As long as they stay in the box.
Yeah. And that's it. It's like they slap the label now with AI, $3 more. But I mean,
that's exactly what I was going to get to. That's exactly what I was going to get to. Okay.
Because keto was that, right? You walk in and there's a bag of chips, it's $6. There's another bag of chips with keto, it's $9. So, yeah.
Okay. So, I I have some. I can go on my soapbox and I can just talk about AI. But here's what I've seen in the past year. They've kind of tickled our palate with everything, and now
just a taste.
They give you a taste, but more importantly, they are beefing up their input systems and output systems based on what we have been training it to do. And now they're pulling the plug and saying, okay, if you want that feature, it's paid. If you want 14 days free, and you don't get to pick day one. Like the second you create an account,
that's
you get
day
14.
one of 14.
That's day one of 14.
The clock ticks.
Yes. So I've seen a lot of that, and I've actually had companies reach out to me saying, hey, can you test our AI product? We'd like to do a promoted tweet. We'll pay you, blah, blah, blah. Sure. I take a call with them, and they talk about how great their AI stuff is, AI detectors and that, which we'll get to. And that company is gone. I haven't heard from it at all.
The check is in the mail.
Yeah, I have. Well, I didn't even do it.
They dissolve that quickly. I think we're in that. I think that's the phase we're in right now. If you harken back to 2010, 2011, iPads are coming out everywhere, right? Yeah. And so are apps. And there's an app for everything. And it's just, there was I remember 27 note-taking apps. And our teacher's like, which one do you like? This one or this? And I think we're in the same space. We're starting to see that inflection point with AI. But I think it's almost faster. Like companies are coming and going even quicker.
Yeah.
Which is
startups.
It's funding. It's the promise of what they can bring in terms of funding to their investors. But there's also data privacy concerns that a lot of educators are more wise to now than we were 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
And have to be wise to. So it's going to be interesting. And I know this vendor hall opens up at 2:30, I believe, today here at FETC. So I'm going to be curious to see again how much of the keto diet is actually happening on their booths. What are we seeing? How much is it just kind of the sizzle, not the steak, so to speak, to use a food
no
term.
pun intended.
Yeah,
I've got one here. Hold on. I hit the
dad joke. That's a dad joke.
That's the one I meant to hit. That's the one I meant to hit.
They're zinging in here, folks. Yeah. Be careful.
So yeah, I think we are definitely getting to that tipping point, and it's happening, and it's happening very fast. There's really only one thing that I can even recall being remotely, I can't even think of the term, but the last time I've seen something gain so popularity so quickly was the interactive whiteboard.
Smartboard. Yes.
Other than that, it was a lull of innovate. I don't want to say innovation.
A few things
but
people are kind of into, but yeah.
But then AI came, and it's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Well, and so I've done a lot of research on why this is the case, and I think some of it is anecdotal, but some of it is actual research. But because I started, like you, last January, February, I started hearing every conversation I had, every podcast I did, every webinar I did, everybody mentioned it. I was like, all right, so if enough people are mentioning it, it's starting to gain some steam. But then I backtracked and I thought, okay, let's look back to 2007 when Steve Jobs invents the iPhone. What does that do? It puts mobile computing in the hands of kids. Well, in the hands of everybody. And then 2011 with the invention of the Chromebook, which gives an inexpensive device that every kid can have. And then 2020 with COVID, all of a sudden every student had to have a device. Now we have the ground floor laid for this new innovation, and then AI gets dropped on top of it. And it's like, okay, now we all have devices and we have access. That's why I think it's gaining flame, and it's not an interactive whiteboard which controls by the teacher. Every student can do it. So it's harder to, not control is the bad word for it, but I guess to manage maybe, I don't know.
And I think that the talk of the town right now is policies.
Yeah.
Districts are really starting to look at, okay, what is our policy? What is our mission statement for AI? Are we in the, yes, we like it as a thought partner in that for our teachers, but we don't want to use it with our students? Are we going to open it up to the students? Are we going to block it? I mean, the New York City public school system, 2022, just
they blocked it for a few months till March. I think they had it blocked for several months.
Yeah,
because they were finally kind of figuring out what was going on.
Because it happens so damn fast.
I was just doing a talk at Lake Buena Vista High School yesterday here in Florida, and I got in a little early because I wanted to test some things. Of course, I'm going to use AI in my talk, and sure enough, half the tool, everything was
Nothing
blocked.
Worked.
It was all blocked.
Had to turn on the
Florida
hotspot.
is interesting because there actually is a lot of political unrest and a lot of things happening if you've not heard, Florida has some of this political things.
It's a little
like we get a little bit of it in Texas too, so we understand. But it's interesting. They're really trying to regulate heavy on AI in the state, which is ironic given that University of Florida is like one of the most leading universities when it comes to AI usage. Like their agriculture college uses AI. I mean, every college now, it's a course requirement that you learn and use AI in whatever field of study you're going into. That's the other reason why I think it's taken off, is because it's so widespread. It's not just a CS tool. It's a tool that can be used in every subject area. So I think that's helping it kind of gain this, I don't know, this huge hype cycle, whatever we're in.
Absolutely. You shared a couple things on social media a couple days ago that I wanted to bring up.
Uh-oh. I'm trying to remember what I said.
You shared some texts from your daughter,
yeah.
from your teenage daughter. Yeah. I wouldn't bring it up had I not seen it on the internet.
No, I know. She's so mad at me for this. She just texted me before this podcast, like, Dad, when are you coming home? I got to talk to you about these.
Oh, man.
But she was the one who encouraged me to do it originally. And one of the texts said,
Dad, I got an A on my essay that I wrote with ChatGPT.
Yes, and I said, and my response to her was like, don't ever put that in writing. Have I not taught you anything? No, so here's the story behind it. So about a month ago, she comes home and it's 9 o'clock at night. She's stressing out about this ethos, pathos, has to write 4 paragraphs. Ooh. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Kind of like you have to go through. She goes, it's due at midnight, Dad. What do I do? I'm like totally struggling. And I'm like, well, what is your teacher's policy on AI? And I know that they don't really have one yet because they haven't been trained on it. I'm actually going to train her whole staff next week, which is funny. I'm not going to share that she did this because she would kill me. But I said, well, so let's use ChatGPT. So she went in and had it form some of the initial thoughts. She copy-pasted it in a Google Doc. And I said, now, if I'm a teacher, I'm going to your revision history, and I'm going to see how much did you copy-paste. And you see this big chunk of blue. And I said, okay, that you need to change into your own words. And so she went through and rewrote it in her own words. Then I took the Chromebook from her, and I said, okay, now I'm going to quiz you on what you wrote. How well do you know it? And I asked her 3 or 4 questions, and she nailed them. Like, all right, you know your content. You wrote a really well-thought-out paper. ChatGPT gave you that framework, turned it in. And the next day, she got 100 on her major. It was a final paper of sorts. So, and she was super excited and sent it to me. And I was like, I'm kind of a proud dad, but I'm also like, is she cheating? Which is, another big question.
Because we're in that weird gray area right now.
Well, Google, 2001, 2002. Again, not every kid had access to technology, but when Google came out and Wikipedia, it's like, these are cheating tools. They aren't learning tools. Calculator before that, and
Do you remember going to the store and paying, obviously with cash?
Yeah.
And they had to do the math.
Money.
They had to do the math. Like, you get your total was $16.38, which means that your change should be $2.62.
Yeah.
But they had to
$3.62, but that's okay. That's the second time he's had a bad math problem on the show, folks. If you're keeping track, we got one more to go.
I took math all 5 years of high school. By the way.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah. So no one don't do math in public. But you're right. It was all done.
And when that register came out, the I guess what we now know as the common checkout register that is maybe still manned by a human, you didn't have to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. Companies didn't say this is cheating. No, their employees were like, I don't have to do that part of it. I can now focus on the customer service, making sure their stuff is bagged correctly, making sure I don't put the bleach with the milk in the same bag kind of thing.
Yeah, this gets me to the good. I think this is the good of AI right now, and it's what you're just talking about, the efficiencies that we can gain and leverage as teachers. And everywhere I go, I even see some sessions here that are like ways to save time with AI. I mean, it's just, we are in such a time famine. I always say that. I mean, in terms of educators, because we've given so much stuff that we have to do, so much administrivia and so much like little paperworky crap that you have to go through, excuse my language, but at some point you've got to just have something to help you through it. And it's an assistant, it's a thought partner, I like how you use that phrase, to really help them get their lessons kind of figured out. If you're just like, I'm stuck on this thing, every year I do the same thing, how do I change the way I'm going to teach this class? Give it to AI, let them kind of come up with some different ideas, and then say, okay, now I like that one, I'll make it my own. But again, so it's a thought partner and a time saver, and I think that's the good of it. The other good of it would be for students. I think it's going to level more of the equity playing field, because now all of a sudden students that didn't have access to tutors or parent support at home will have access to AI to help them with feedback and the things, again, that not every kid has access to. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I use it multiple times a day.
Yeah.
What are your favorite? Well, no, because there's so many different categories of AI right now.
I know where you're about to go, and I'm like, oh my god.
Let's not
give me a category, and I can give you a favorite in a category. Like if you said,
I need to massage an email.
Large language model. Right now, I use Bing Chat, or it's called Copilot now. Microsoft changed it.
Copilot.
I've been using that more. Still ChatGPT, I would say, is my number one large language model, but I probably I'm in between that and Copilot. Copilot, by the way, at the school I went to yesterday, that was open. So I used that instead of ChatGPT. So because Florida's a big Microsoft state. And so
I did not know that.
So quickly I was like, I'll just do this activity in Bing Chat, which actually uses ChatGPT in the back end anyway. So it's, I like that one. And it's free as long as you have a Microsoft account.
Okay. You triggered something in my brain right now. Did you read that article from that, I think it was New York Times, the dude who went down that Bing chatbot?
No.
No? I'll send it to you. But here's the quick and dirty. He was chatting with this chatbot for a little while and just kind of going through and this is, this is about a year ago. And he asked that AI chatbot what it wanted to do. I don't remember the exact prompt, but what are you? What do you want to be? And he said, I want to be. I think he said something like, I don't want to be in here anymore. I want to do the X, Y, and Z. And the chatbot talked about how easily it can infiltrate banking systems.
Yeah.
Start wars between countries and this and that. And it went just to the darkest places that you can imagine. Quickly. Yes. And
this brings us to the ugly.
That is the segue to the ugly.
The ugly, because the bad is kind of in between, but the ugly is where you're going, which is that the reliance or over-reliance, and this is the big hesitation, right? This is why everybody's not ever 100% in on AI. I'm way in on it, but I'm not 100% in. Because you have to have guardrails, policies, procedures, guidelines, things that will help. First of all, as a student, we can't be overly reliant on it. We still have to have foundational skills. You have to learn how to walk before you can take a rocket ship to Mars, right? So I think having those skills is going to be important. I think the ugly is that we're going to be overly reliant on it, and it's an election year. And there's deep fakes, and there's already stuff going out. Yesterday was the robocall in New Hampshire from Biden 2 days ago. It wasn't really him, but he called all the Democrats and basically said, don't come to the primaries. There's no need to come vote because someone was going to try to go and then get him off the primary. It was like an old trick, and it was his voice. They just used AI to do it. So it started, and unfortunately that preys upon a certain generation in our country that's not as tech savvy. I'm not going to say which, but it rhymes with Oomers, let's just say. Yeah.
Yes.
My parents, and I'm teaching them, and hopefully we all are talking about keeping that digital literacy from 5 to 105. We need to be teaching it to all of the populace.
Yeah. 100% agree with you on everything you just said. I can't get over it. You used to watch the Jetsons. Did you watch the Jetsons?
Yeah, I love the Jetsons.
Rosie?
The original Roomba. Yeah.
Rosie. We have
flip phones
so many Rosies available to us now.
Yeah.
We have Siri, Hey Google,
Alexa.
Those are all. Whether you. Oh, I just set mine off.
I know, mine too. Sorry. And then my watch just said something to me, and yeah.
So we now live in a time where we have multiple virtual assistants, which are all built on artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it's going to be very interesting where we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever reset the Wi-Fi at your house? Have you ever I got a new access point a couple years back, and it was amazing. The house, we couldn't
do anything.
The temperature was freezing. It was cold out, and I couldn't get the thermostat because it's connected Nest, and my camera, nothing worked with the cameras, and we have a smart crock pot that didn't work.
You have a smart crock pot?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
you
those
can program
existed.
it. You can program it and use it for your phone. However, it's Wi-Fi dependent. So if you lose Wi-Fi, you're going. Literally, we were cold and starved that night because of Wi-Fi. And people say it's not high on the hierarchy of needs, but Wi-Fi is number one, and then food and shelter next.
Yeah.
That dependence and over-reliance on the Internet of Things, which is a huge word 2 years ago. IoT was a big thing, and I think it's still humming in the background. Yeah. And as AI continues to go and grow, and machine learning, like you talked about, I think that IoT is going to continue to be a thing that we need to use and optimize in our classrooms to save time, but also to be wary of.
Be very diligent. Yeah.
There goes the conference chair, Jen Womble, walking by. Look, she's got her phone on. She's walking with purpose. Something serious is happening.
This is the fourth time she's ran across this table.
Yeah, and she's been here since 5 a.m. So she works hard. It's a great event.
Yeah, awesome event. What sessions you got going on?
I'm doing a session on AI. I'm doing a session. It's called 10 Creative AI Tools. So I'm kind of leaving the realm of the large language model. I'll touch it for just a second, but most of it will be creative tools.
Okay.
Is what I'm going to be demonstrating on. So text to video, some new ones that have come out recently that I'm hoping to highlight. And then I'm doing a couple classics, a couple years old now that they're not AI. Fail Fest, which is like about failure, risk taking, and it's a really interactive session. I'm doing a podcast Smackdown. My buddy Adam, my co-host of my other podcast.
Big shout out to Adam.
Adam is not here.
Hope he's doing well.
He is in recovery, and so I'm going to be getting the AI version of Adam will be presenting with me, and we're going up against the LinkedIn Live podcast, which is Jerry Kimball and Jamie Saporano from ClassLink. And so they wanted to battle it out. So we're going to be like greatest ed tech tool of all time, greatest non-tech tool of all time for classroom. Think about that for a second. What would your answer be? Because I have mine.
Restate the question again.
The greatest non-tech tool in the classroom of all time.
Oh, that's a piece of cake. That would be the whiteboard.
Oh, see, I went with Sharpie, but scissors is another.
Where would you write?
I don't know. I feel like Sharpie.
You probably shouldn't use the Sharpie on a whiteboard.
No, not on a whiteboard. No, Sharpie to me was like the tool. Like when you had a Sharpie, it's like gold. You know, if you had the colored Sharpies, like you had to hide those things in a safe. So for me, that's Sharpies was mine.
Commodity.
The scissors, I would say, is up there. I mean, that's quite the tool.
How about paper?
Yeah, that's probably the winner, honestly, now that I think about it. Dang it. Well, I already went with Sharpie. But so we're doing stuff like that. So that'll be that session. It'll be fun. And then Adam will be chiming in, like I said, remotely via AI. So it's not going to be him. Okay. I'll be using HeyGen to mimic him as much as I can.
Got it.
Yeah.
Are you to the point where you are paying out of pocket for AI tools?
I am way past that point. Yeah, I'm now at the point. Do you remember when like the subscription streaming services came out and you're like, oh, I'm going to do Hulu and Link and Prime, and then every month I'd be like, oh my God, I'm playing like 12 of these. I'm now there with AI. I think I pay for 7 tools now.
Got it.
And it's the same. It's $5 here and $7 there, and I'm like, well, let me just try it out. But like you were saying, the free ones are going away, so you have to pay a little bit. And if it's really good, I'm like, all right, if it's really good, I'll pay for it for a while. And then if I end up feeling like I'm not using it, I'll drop it. But I'm not locking into anything yearly because, to be truthful, I mean, all of this stuff's going to be conglomerated into companies soon.
Yeah.
Adobe, Canva are already doing it. Microsoft's trying. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Google Bard. Google Bard doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah,
it's an interesting one.
Google Bard is like I wouldn't be Clooney and Pitt from Ocean's 11. It would be more of the Matt Damon, I think, of that group, right? Of the Ocean's 11 crew.
Yeah, I forgot his name. He had an interesting name in that movie.
Yeah, Linus.
He's
Google Bard is Bard, Linus. I mean, there's some tie in there. It's definitely the Linus of the crew because I feel like, you hear a lot about Bing Chat. You hear a lot about Canva Magic, right? You hear a lot about, of course, ChatGPT, but you don't hear a lot. And Conmigo, I just had a great conversation with someone about that, but you don't hear a lot about Bard. And I think it's pretty good. I think the thing I'm noticing is that most schools block it. Yes. Because of the Google Drive integration and there's fear of data.
At least for students. Our district has it open for staff. So.
Yep.
All right. How can people connect with you on social media, man?
Find me on Twix. That's Twitter X. Find me on the Twix at Mr. Hooker. And LinkedIn. I'm on K-12 Leaders at Carl because I was like the second account created. And on carlhooker.com. Find a lot of my work. My blog's at hookedoninnovation.com. I have 5 podcasts I get around. But it's good to be a guest. Thank you so much for having me, and I love your podcast.
Hey, man.
You're one of the few I listen to. Actually, I don't listen to a lot of them because I'm doing a lot of them, but I like listening and hearing. And, of course, the food angle is great. And you've got a book coming out or just came out.
It came out, man.
I'm so excited to see it. I saw the unboxing the other day you put on video. Yeah.
I saw Matt.
It's a real thing. Doesn't it feel like it's almost like the birth of a child. I told my kids that, and they got really upset at me. And I was like, well, no, it's kind of better.
Yeah. No. This one doesn't talk back.
It's not as messy. Yeah. I mean, there was mess making it, but yes.
Yeah, it's officially out. I'm super excited, so I'll be at the book signing as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll see you over there.
All right, sounds good, man. Well, I have one last question for you. I think I know, being that you're from El Paso. Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
We've had this discussion before, many times. I think it depends on my mood, but right now, in the past I answered flour. I'll be honest, I'm all in on corn. I'm back to corn.
Where the heck is it? There we go. I couldn't find it.
I thought you were going to play actual corn, like the band. That would be corn.
Well, I'm glad that you made the transition to Team Corn, my friend. I respect a good flour tortilla, like I tell people, but there's nothing like a good corn.
Oh my God! Just the flavor. I think the flavor profile comes out so much more in what it's carrying. I feel like the flour can be overpowering.
Yes,
I still like the carbiness of flour.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, sounds good, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your FETC experience. Thank you again for being a part of the show. Thank you for everything you contribute to our educational space, the good, the bad, the ugly of AI, and we'll see where this goes. And we'll see you at the booth, my friend.
See you there.
All right.